Facing an IRS audit elicits both fear and dread for most people. Keep watching to learn more about appealing an IRS audit and what steps you need to take going forward. IRS audit. There are a few reasons you might face an audit. First, the IRS does do statistically random audits. You might have been chosen by the computer. You might also have an error in your tax filing that made the IRS take a closer look. You might have some numbers that don't add up or make sense. If you make a large number of deductions or use tax credits, there might be something the IRS doesn't agree with. The auditing process. Your audit could happen via mail exchange or with an in-person interview. The IRS in-person interviews could be at your home, office, lawyer's office, or an IRS office. If you've been told your audit will be by mail, the IRS is likely to request more information and records which you can submit to them. If you have too much paperwork to submit, you can always request an in-person interview. Appealing an audit. So you've received a notification your audit is complete. The IRS will send you a detailed breakdown of the proposed assessments and changes they propose and proposed changes in interest, penalties, and taxes. It may surprise you to hear that the first thing to do, despite it being what the IRS wants, is to not sign the appeal form. When you don't sign it and 30 days pass, then the IRS generates a 30-day letter that explains how to appeal the audit results. You'll be asked to write a formal appeal letter. The letter should contain a series of information related to your appeal. The IRS has a form, IRS Form 12203-A, that you'll need to complete that request and appeal for the audit results. The IRS Hearing. Once you've sent in your appeal, the IRS will set a hearing date. Usually, you'll get at least 60 days to prepare your case once you're given a date of hearing. When preparing for your case, request a copy of the auditor's file. Likewise, you should have receipts, statements, and any other forms you want to use in your appeal. Next, note that appeal hearings tend to be informal, where you and the appeals auditor will talk through the case. But don't go in assuming this is a casual situation. You want to go in prepared with an outline of exactly what you want to present and what evidence you'll use to show why you think you're right. Take careful notes if the auditor makes any requests. It's likely you may be asked for additional documentation and time for the auditor to evaluate your case. Be cooperative and agree, and be sure to provide them with what they request. Finally, understand that the IRS doesn't want to lose a case in court. Their appeals auditors are told, if possible, to negotiate to reach a settlement. One of the first things you should hope to get in a negotiation is for the IRS to waive any penalties that previous auditors have assessed. If the appeals auditors believe your intentions are to meet your responsibilities in good faith, they will likely be willing to waive those penalties. If you appear willing to compromise in your case, you're more than likely to make progress with the appeal. It's best to discuss in terms of adjustments, items, or percentages over dollar amounts. Be prepared to reach a settlement in the case with your auditor verbally. Then it will be recorded on Tax Form 870. If you need help making decisions about your audit, we can help. Contact us today to get the help you need with your tax problem.